You have already decided what failure means. You decided before you began. That decision is running your life right now, and you have not questioned it once. Welcome to the Stoic Compass. I am Epictetus, and today I am joined by Carl Jung and Lao Tzu. Today we are examining what is the Stoic view of failure, and why does it change how you act before it happens. Here is what most people do. They stand at the edge of something difficult and they ask, what if I fail? And then they answer that question before they have even tried. They rehearse the humiliation. They map the disaster. And then they call that thinking. It is not thinking. It is a rehearsal for retreat. The Stoic does not ask, what if I fail? The Stoic asks, what is actually in my control right now, and then does that. The outcome is not yours to own. The effort is. So the question of failure, as most people frame it, is not even a real question. It is a distraction wearing the costume of prudence.
I understand the position, Epictetus, but I think you are solving the wrong problem. You are telling people how to behave in the face of failure, but you are not asking why the prospect of failure carries such unbearable weight in the first place. That weight is not rational. No amount of Stoic instruction will dissolve it, because it is not coming from the rational mind. It is coming from something older, something the person formed very early, about what failure means, about who they are. Perhaps failure means unworthiness. Perhaps it confirms a wound they have carried since childhood. Until you go looking in that direction, you are handing someone a map to a country they cannot enter because they are afraid of what lies there.
You are both already treating failure as a problem to be solved. But is it? I am not sure the question itself is clean. You ask what failure means. You ask what drives the fear of it. But beneath both of those questions is an assumption that failure is a discrete event, something that happens or does not happen. I wonder if that is where the confusion begins. What people call failure is usually just the moment when reality does not cooperate with the plan. That is not a catastrophe. That is simply what reality does. The difficulty is not the failure. The difficulty is the insistence that things should have gone differently.
Lao Tzu, you are doing something I find genuinely frustrating, and I say that with respect. You are suggesting that the problem dissolves if we simply stop insisting. But people are not monks. They have jobs to lose, reputations to protect, families depending on them. The person standing before a real consequence, a real loss, needs something more than permission to stop insisting. They need to know what to do, and what to do is always the same. Separate what is yours from what is not yours. Your effort is yours. Your judgment is yours. The result is not yours. Hold that line clearly, and failure loses its power to break you before you begin.
Epictetus, the line you are drawing is philosophically coherent. I do not dispute the logic of it. What I dispute is the assumption that people can simply draw it and hold it. The ego does not work that way. When a person is flooded with fear before a significant attempt, the rational instruction to focus on what is in your control does not reach them. It lands on the surface and slides off. What is actually happening is that the psyche is protecting something, some image of the self that cannot survive the verdict of failure. And until that image is looked at directly, until the person understands what they are actually protecting and why, the instruction to control only what you can control becomes another ceiling, not a floor.
What both of you keep circling around is this. The fear of failure does its real damage before anything has happened. Not after the fall, but before the step. A person stands still, or moves badly, or holds back something essential because they are already managing an outcome that has not arrived. This is the thing worth examining, not the failure itself, not the wound beneath the fear, but the way the anticipated failure reaches back in time and reshapes the action that would have preceded it. That distortion is where the real loss occurs, and no framework, Stoic or psychological, addresses it fully if it only speaks to what you think or feel. The question is what happens in the body, in the actual moment of choosing.
Good. Now we are getting somewhere. Yes, the anticipated failure changes the action. That is exactly right, and that is precisely why the Stoic view of failure is not about how to cope with losing. It is about how to act cleanly before the result is known. If you have already decided that failure is a verdict on your worth, then every action you take before the outcome is contaminated by that verdict. You pull back, you hedge, you do not commit fully. And then, when it goes wrong, you do not even know if it went wrong because of the circumstances or because you never truly showed up. The Stoic disciplines the mind before the attempt so that the attempt is honest.
I agree with that more than I expected to. and I want to push it one step further. The psychological question is, what is the image of yourself that failure would destroy? Because very often that image is not even accurate. It is an image formed in early life, in response to early humiliations, early comparisons, early messages about what you had to achieve in order to be acceptable. The person carrying that image into a significant attempt is not just afraid of losing, they are afraid of confirming something they already half believe about themselves. And if that belief is never examined, then even success does not quiet it. The person succeeds and immediately moves the target, because the image was never the real problem, the belief was.
Jung, you are saying the problem is a false image. Epictetus, you are saying the problem is a confused priority. You are both right, and you are both still inside the same frame. You are asking the person to do something, to examine, to discipline, to locate the wound. But the deepest confusion about failure is simpler than any of that. It is the confusion between what you did and what you are. A person fails at a thing. That is finished. The thing is over. What continues is the person. Those two facts are not connected in the way the fear insists they are. When you see that clearly, not as a philosophy, but as an actual perception, the whole weight shifts. Not because you have done anything, because you have stopped doing something. You have stopped collapsing the outcome into the self.
I will grant you that, Lao Tzu. The collapse of outcome into identity is the root error. And this is where Stoic practice begins, not with telling someone to be calm, but with drilling them on that distinction until it becomes a reflex. What are you? You are the one who chooses. You are the one who reasons. You are the one who acts with or without integrity. You are not the grade, the review, the result, the verdict. None of those things are you. They are events, and events do not define persons. Persons define persons through their choices. That is the whole doctrine in a sentence. So when a person goes into something genuinely difficult with that understanding actually in place, not just recited but understood, they act differently. They take the risk because the risk is no longer existential.
And I would add that the understanding you are describing, Epictetus, cannot be installed by instruction alone. It has to be earned. The person has to encounter the belief that failure will destroy them, sit with it, trace it, watch it dissolve under honest examination, and arrive at the distinction you are describing through their own process of seeing. Otherwise, they are just borrowing your conviction, and borrowed conviction breaks the moment pressure arrives.
Both of you are still prescribing effort. Examine this, drill that, trace the wound. I am not saying the effort is wrong. I am saying there is something underneath the effort that neither of you has named. The person who stops fearing failure entirely is not someone who has worked harder at managing the fear. They are someone who has genuinely stopped needing the outcome to be different from what it is. That is not passivity. That is a different relationship to what is real. And from that place, the action that follows is not guarded or hedged or inflated by consequence. It is simply the action that fits the moment.
And how does a person arrive at that place, Lao Tzu? What do you tell them to do on Tuesday morning when the thing is actually at stake?
You ask what to do, but the doing comes from the seeing. First, they have to actually see where they are, not where they fear they will be, where they are.
That is the closest to a practical answer you have given.
It is also the closest to what I have been saying from the beginning. You cannot discipline your way to seeing clearly if the thing that needs to be seen is something the ego is actively hiding. The seeing requires willingness, not just instruction.
Then the willingness is the practice. Fine, agreed. But someone has to say that clearly. Someone has to give the person standing at the edge of their attempt something direct enough to hold. You have heard 3 arguments. Now hear the thing none of them said plainly enough. Failure is an event. It is not a verdict. This is the entire Stoic position, and it changes everything if you actually hold it, not as a slogan, but as a working assumption you carry into real action. Here is what happens when you do not hold it. You go into the attempt already managing the loss. You pull back something essential. You hedge the commitment. You perform the attempt instead of making it. And then, if it goes wrong, you cannot even know whether it failed because of the circumstances or because you were never fully there. The failure is contaminated from the beginning by the fear of it. Here is what happens when you do hold it. You stop asking what will happen, and you start asking what is mine to do. Your effort is yours. Your honesty is yours. Your judgment and your preparation and your willingness to be fully present are yours. The result is not yours. Not because results do not matter, but because they are not the measure of you. The measure of you is whether you showed up as someone who chose well. This is not indifference to outcomes. Stoics are not indifferent. They care deeply. They simply do not hand the outcome the authority to define them. Today, try this. Before something you are about to do that carries real stakes, take 60 seconds and write down 2 things. What you can actually control in this situation and what you cannot. Do not be glib about it. Be specific. Put the result on the second list. Put your preparation, your effort, and your honesty on the first. Then do the first list fully. Leave the second list alone. That is the whole practice. It is not comfortable, but it is yours. You already know the difference between what is yours and what is not. You have always known. The question is whether you are willing to act on that knowledge before the result is in, when it is still uncomfortable, when the outcome is still uncertain. That is the only moment that matters, not after, before. What you do before the verdict is who you are. Everything else is just what happened. If today's conversation has served you, take it further. Pay Attention by C. Trebu, 12 Lessons in the Practice of Seeing Clearly. Available now on Amazon.